Way of the Pew Pew.
I just had unprotected sex with a gun. I just went to the gun store and stole all the guns. I just smoked crack out of a gun. I just loaded up my gun with 32 little guns, and then I shot people with guns. I legally changed my first, middle, and last name to Gun.
What up, YouTube? Hey, we are back with another video from Where the Pew Pew. Hey guys, I know it's been a while, but hey, sometimes life gets in the way, so but I definitely don't want you guys to forget about me, so I had to bring you another video. Real quick, first thing first, as always, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. So, let's just go ahead and get into it. So, most of the firearms I have in my collection, I have good things to say about them. But some I do like a lot less than others, and this happens to be one of my least favorite firearms in my collection. Check it out. The Smith & Wesson sd40 VE. As the name would suggest, it is chambered in 40 caliber. So let's kind of talk about it a little bit. So, this firearm, even though I really don't like it, it's not my favorite. It holds a special place in my heart. This is one of the first firearms that I bought when I was actually trying to figure out what I liked, what I wanted to carry. So it does have a little bit of sentimental value to me. But as I got more into the 2A game, I understood, what I kind of wanted to look for in a firearm and kind of what I wanted. But just kind of hold on to it, kind of thought about turning it into a project gun, maybe doing some paint jobs on it, maybe, doing some different things. Just hadn't got around to it yet. But let me say this first thing first. Smith & Wesson is a very high quality firearm manufacturer. So it's not a knock against them. This is just my opinion on this particular firearm. If you've seen any of my videos, you know that when it comes to controls, I'm a big control guy. So, it's kind of one of those things where how easy is the gun to manipulate? How easy is it to do some of the simple things with this firearm as far as like slide release, things like that, mag release. And one of the things that I do like about this gun, first off, what attracted me to this gun was definitely the color. I love that stainless steel on black. That was kind of caught my like, man, that's really cool. But also, I love the ease of manipulation of the slide. I mean, it's for a full-size firearm, this slide is really, really easy to manipulate. Doesn't take much force, doesn't take much power in order to rack this thing, even with a full magazine. So that's definitely a good thing. Another thing, the slide release. Love a big slide release on a firearm. Makes it easy to use, makes it easy to put this thing back in the battery and see how easy that was. Not very much force, and it's flat, so it doesn't really get in the way. Even though with the way it's textured, it's easy for you to get a nice grip on it, and it's not, as you see, not too far out of reach for, even someone with smaller hands. The sights, typical 3-dot sights, nothing really major about those. Of course, you can change those out if you wanted to. But for me, one of the things that I probably would like to see on this firearm, it does have a plastic guide rod, but I would like to see maybe a steel guide rod, maybe even stainless steel to match the slide. I think that would have been dope. But again, those things just my opinion on some of those things. Has a decent sized Picatinny rail for you to, attach your light, laser, scope, whatever, bipod, whatever you want to put on there. And, then the mag release. Mag releases aren't, not mag release, I'm sorry, takedown levers. Those are not really important, but, how often are you taking down your gun in the middle of a firefight or, self-defense incident? Probably not very often. If you are, then, you might need to rethink about, the firearm you chose if you had to take it down and repair it or do something to it. So it's not a big deal, but we'll like to maybe see something a little bit larger, easy to grip. It's kind of hard to get to those things. Kind of gotta get your nail and level it out, but no big deal for that. Now, one of the things that for me personally is really, 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 really hard for me is this grip. With being such a large caliber, it has a little bit more kick than a 9mm, of course. But I would like to see this grip, even though I can get a good purchase on it. I would like to see something a little bit more comfortable. Maybe a little you see it's kind of just straight down right there in the front. But like something that, I could kind of a little bit of finger contour where I can get my fingers, in a more comfortable position on that grip. And then, of course, the texture, kind of aggressive on that back. It does, like really, when I'm shooting this thing, it just kind of wears my hands out. By the time I'm done shooting 2 or 3 mags through this thing, I'm like, whoo! All right, let's put this back in the case. Let's find something else. Bring me the 22 over there. So, yeah, it does wear you out a little bit, trying to keep a grip on this thing, trying to, hold on to it when you're firing it. So, to me, that just kind of makes it not a fun shooter for me also. Now, let's get to the probably and if you own one of these things, you definitely know what I'm talking about. Let's talk about the trigger. These things do not have the best trigger. Kind of expected more from Smith & Wesson, but again, this firearm is, I think, sub $400. And that's not to say that it's not guns out there that are sub $400 that actually shoot well and have really good triggers, because I own a couple. But this trigger just is not very good. For one thing, it's a heavy trigger pull. So when you have a heavy trigger pull, it kind of tends to affect your accuracy, because you're pulling and you kind of get that twist in there, so it kind of throws you off a little bit. And I think the trigger is like, I want to say like 4 or 5 pounds, something like that. I want to say maybe off a little bit, but it's been a while since I shot this gun. But it's really heavy trigger pull, so tends to throw you off a little bit. And then also it's made kind of weird. Most triggers have that little dongle thing in there that kind of you gotta kind of press back and it lines up and then it shoots. This one has more of some kind of wiggly little bottom here. I don't know what they call it, but yeah. And also would it be not only a heavy trigger pull, look at that, boom. The reset also kind of sucks on that. So see, nope, 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 nope. There we go. So basically, I let that thing almost all the way out before it even reset. So it's not even a fast shooter. So you throw that in with the weight, the trigger pull, the reset. It's not a very accurate shooter. But you can put shots on target. No, you can't put shots on target, but you kind of really have to think about it as you're doing it. So, again, the Smith & Wesson, that's definitely not my favorite firearm. Now, however, it does come with a couple of mags. You see that one loaded, so it will not be going in the gun while I'm doing the video. But, the mags are pretty cool. Like they're steel. Look really nice. But yeah, so what we're gonna do, take this thing out to the range, put some rounds through it, let you guys see how it actually performs, and maybe you form your own opinion of it. But then we'll come back and talk about it a little bit more, and see you guys in a minute. Alright guys, finally had a chance to take this thing out to the range and actually put some rounds through it. I'm getting the Smith & Wesson sd40 VE, of course chambered in 40 caliber Smith & Wesson. So for me, like I say, not a bad firearm, just certain things that I don't really like about it. As you kind of see, the recoil is not very bad on it, but again, it's not really a fast shooter. As you can see, that reset is kind of a long reset, heavy trigger pull. So, like I say, not the best, but again, I'm not opposed to shooting any firearm, owning any firearm. As a person that owns several firearms, nothing wrong with adding something to the collection whenever you get the chance to, especially like say with the price point. Don't recommend it as a first option if you're just now getting into the 2A game and on the firearms. Definitely don't recommend this as a first firearm you should buy, unless it's just like say something you just gotta have for the price point. I think it was like less than $400. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. All right, so hey guys, we're back. Smith & Wesson sd40 VE. Guess you kind of saw, wasn't really bad. Like I said, I haven't shot this thing in a long time. And I don't know, I guess absence make the heart grow fonder, but she didn't really feel too bad about shooting it. Still, definitely not one of my favorites. As you see, it'll get the job done. Is it in my top 5? Definitely not. But again, I'm not opposed to owning, buying, shooting any firearm. If it's out there and you want to shoot it, hey, by all means shoot it. These are just my opinions on the firearms that I own and I have shot. So again, definitely not one of my favorites. Probably gonna hold on to it for a little bit longer. But at the end of the day, like I say, guys, way of pew pew is definitely way of life.